Good evening, guys. How we doing? So everyone's doing review shows, and I'm like, we can wait. And then we're like, no, we should get it out. We should do instant reactions. And then we went to overtime, and I'm like, you know what? I would rather talk about things in a grander scale, anyways. So what we're going to do is quickly talk about any Super Bowl kind of recap that you want. We'll go over these lineups, and then kind of just let the conversation organically grow from there. We can talk about some off-season stuff. We can talk about how we're going to handle the NBA because I got to be honest, I'm kind of glad it's over. Like we got a great ending to the NFL season, and I'm like, the first half though of that game pretty much proved to me that I'm like, I need a break from football. And then the second half was good. I'm like, you know what? That was the icing on the cake. Now let's just smoothly transition to the off season. Like that was perfect for me because like I didn't have to pay full attention. I didn't have this like pressure on me of being like the second half has to be magical or live up to the first half. It really was perfect. It wasn't a great game. It wasn't a game I'll forget, but we can move on from there. Did you guys have any? Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite Super Bowls ever. I love this game. Every part of it. That's the game I like to watch. It's my type of football.
Like enough scoring ended up happening, but it was exciting, and there was defense. Like it was very good Super Bowl.
I completely agree with the both of you guys. This was a Super Bowl that was actually worth watching if you even have a minute interest in football, period.
Which may very well help because we know a shit ton of non-football fans were watching that game, and they got to watch one of the better football games I've seen in the last couple of years.
Well, here's my thing.
No, regardless that whole game, Super Bowl, that was one of the better games I've seen in the last few years.
That's true. But just when you look at a grand scheme of like the game itself, throughout the whole time, I really couldn't tell who was going to win at all. I had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah, it's like there were times San Fran was up, but it never seemed like Kansas City was out of it.
Yeah, like in San Fran, to me, San Fran controlled that whole game.
They really did.
San Fran played better. They were the better team. They were prepared. They were ready.
Although, to be fair,
they were not the better team.
San Fran was the team that had to do the crazy stuff. Like it was the double flea flicker from Jennings to back to CMC that was their touchdown.
Yep.
Like they had the crazy plays, whereas it's not crazy that Mahomes threw a touchdown to MVS. It's just unlikely.
And Donnie is correct that the 49ers on offense had the ball longer than the Chiefs did. It's just that the Chiefs just happened to do more in little time.
Which is what I would expect when you have the better head coach, you have the better quarterback. Your offense is going to be efficient, and I thought that's what the Kansas City Chiefs were. I wasn't sweating that game at all.
No,
I bet $2 on the Chiefs. I honestly never thought the Chiefs were going to lose that game.
I didn't really think they were going to lose it. I figured, it's Patrick Mahomes, but man, what a growth that guy has made from early on in his career where he was just a highlight reel and that's it. And that's all you could get out of him is highlights. And when you took away his highlights, he looked a little shaken. And now he can bore you to death. And that's scary.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I want you to elaborate because I know you're a smart football fan, so I don't want people to misconstrue what you're saying. Like when you say he's really grown, like what do you think is the greatest part about his game? Like where you really appreciate it now?
Early on, if you remember, the Patriots figured out you play two deep safeties, and you take Tyreek out of the game and make him take a check down. Mahomes won't take check downs. A couple years ago, that was the thing. Mahomes didn't know how to take a check down. It was highlight or nothing.
And in this game, he didn't. Like he scrambled more than anything because he didn't take the check downs.
And the 49ers defense
yes, but the check downs were not there.
Yeah, I'll admit, like there really weren't any schemed out in this game.
They were not ready for Mahomes to use his feet, too.
That's the thing. But, like San Fran all of a sudden looked like a New England defense that doesn't know how to fucking deal with a running quarterback.
But then all of a sudden, like, when you were forced to, like, it went to 4th and 2, 4th and 1, whatever, and the drags were open, he would take it. He would use his legs. He would make the right football play. He wasn't always going for the home run. And now that he can
because
play
he didn't have a lot of home run hitters like that San Fran defense.
But even it's been progressing for a couple of years where he's been doing that.
Not really.
That's mostly because of the offense. Like, to be fair, once they lost Tyreek Hill, who do they have that is a home run hitter?
Travis Kelce.
Like, yeah, it was Kelce.
And I don't see Kelce as a home run hitter.
I would
Travis
tell
Kelce
you-
is a safety blanket. Safety blanket is not your home run hitter.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
But he played that role for a while.
They needed Rice to step up this year to be that. They needed to get catches from MVS or Hardman or Watson or any one of those young guys that can just get down the field. But they don't have a real, like, burner on that team, which has really changed their offense. That's why this year it was a lot more of running the ball with Pacheco more of the time. But then Mahomes would still try those shots. But throughout the year, especially the regular season, those MVS shots just didn't hit. How many times were we sitting here on a Tuesday like, God, MVS had a 70-yarder he dropped? But when they got to the playoffs, like, the offense was – they knew the consistency of the offense. They kept running it. And it just – like, that would just showed, like what Logan was saying. That was a very disciplined team. That Kansas City knew what they wanted to do. And even when they got punched in the mouth and Pacheco wasn't working, they knew what to do with their offense. And they were just able to, like, stay close and in it the whole time. Whereas San Fran, they came out hot, but they still had to do some trick stuff to deal with the Kansas City defense.
Yep.
Like, the Kansas City defense is what I think the Kansas City defense is the star of that game.
Easily.
Oh, it is the star of the game.
Like, as good as Mahomes was, as good as CMC was, of all the offensive players, the Kansas City defense is the play. Like, they are what made that game.
No,
and I'm not even counting special teams where that screwed up punt happened. Like, I'm not even calling that. Like, just the defense itself made enough plays and contained San Francisco to where Mahomes just had to he just had to pull a Brady and do the basics, not fuck shit up. That's
the crazy part. He can do that now. Like,
and that's I'll give it. That's coaching. That's Andy Reid being better than Kyle Shanahan right there.
Yes.
Like,
100%.
Maybe Shanahan Shanahan did make a mistake when it came to overtime, but other than that, I don't even think Shanahan was a bad coach.
No. Shanahan coached fine. He had a fine game.
Exactly. He was fine. But Andy Reid was better than fine, and that won them that game.
Yeah,
like,
I would.
Reid had everything in place. His team played exactly as it needed to be.
And George Kittle is just not Travis Kelce, unfortunately, who had 9 catches.
Even
Debo, 8 in the second half.
He couldn't get anything from Debo. He couldn't get anything from Kittle. They're using Jawan Jennings because of how good the defense is. And
Jawan Jennings might have been the Super Bowl MVP if they won.
CMC almost won that game. Like, Jawan Jennings and CMC were almost like co-MVPs winning that game.
You are right, Donnie, about Jennings potentially winning MVP. I would have given it to Bosa because I thought Bosa really set the edge.
Caught a touchdown. Oh, God.
I mean, he played defensive end, so it's easy to say he set the edge. But defensively, I feel like he was.
No, he kept Mahomes contained for a long time. But Greenlaw being out eventually wore down on that Niners defense a little.
They would have walked anyway.
I don't completely agree. They were doing fine in the second half. It's just Mahomes has just figured out how to punch holes in that defense. They were starting to get tired, just like the Chiefs defense. But he just figured out how to just start using his legs, and the Niners were just not ready for Mahomes to take off running. He averaged 7.3 yards per carry off of 9 carries.
Yeah, I'm not wavering. I don't know why the Chiefs were underdogs. That was a mistake. I'll take Vegas' money anytime there's a big game, and you want to put Patrick Mahomes as an underdog.
When 80% of the public bets on one team, that should tell you something.
They were stupid then.
I don't agree with that at all, Logan. I think betting, I think it ended at -1.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
It went back to
Niners, I agree with that.
And I remember day of, it was still pretty close to like 60-40 bets. And it never got up to like 70-80% of the bets. There was an influx on Saturday night that moved the line a point. But even then, by the time game started, the number of bets had moved back to like 60-40.
And all week before, it was sitting at -2.
San Fran.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Week it was sitting at -2. Saturday night, a bunch of money came in on the Chiefs and moved it to -1. Yeah, but it was back to 1.5, 2 by the start of the game.
Yeah,
and
it was.
San Fran was getting a shit ton of the money.
I know that because I bet it at halftime as well. That's what I'm saying. Not only did I put my money where my mouth is, I don't mean the victory lap because I didn't even think it was a victory lap because I was driving the goddamn truck. I was already long past where everyone else was catching up. Andy Reid was the better coach. That's been proven.
Who had
Mahomes,
purple for the Gatorade color?
but by the way, I won my Drew McKinnon bet while everyone else was still crying over the national anthem, which I just thought was ironic, it's funny. But speaking of,
I feel dumb and like just to get this out with my personal lineup from the middle.
Right, yeah.
I also played a Juszczyk captain, but as the got close to time, I started seeing people like it looked like Juszczyk and McKinnon were gonna be 2 or 3% owned at captain instead of basically not owned. And what did Juszczyk end up coming in at?
I can look.
You can look right here. Like just X out of it.
I want to say he was
what was his captain percentage?
12%.
12%, like at captain?
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. Captain, he was
okay. No, he was only 12%. So Juszczyk ended up being better than I thought. McKinnon took a lot of the ownership I thought Juszczyk was going to get. I thought he was going to come in at 1 or 2%. So to offshoot that in my personal lineup, I played Debo instead of Mahomes and left the $2,000 on the table. That cost me like 22 points and not cashing my lineup.
Because we were trying to keep this show high and tight, though, let's transition to the.
I have one more thing to say, just outside looking in, because I've experienced both sides of like the most. The 5 years of this dynasty for the Chiefs now. It's been a dynasty. I don't know why people needed a third Super Bowl to call it a dynasty. It's been a dynasty, but
because they won 10 years.
Yeah, well, the Patriots when I was watching that, it was like you feel good about it. You're like, yeah, I have a chance every year. But watching the Chiefs now on this end, it's like this was supposed to be the Chiefs' down year, and no one can stop them still. Like legitimately, what are you gonna? If you get Mahomes once, you got lucky, and you better take your shot. Like I don't know what the NFL does now because the Chiefs aren't getting worse.
I would disagree slightly with that. I think the Chiefs look significantly worse this year during the regular season. They got really fucking lucky in a lot of games, such as that AFC Championship game against the Ravens, where the Ravens just forgot to do what the Chiefs are weakest at and run the ball. They played down, and they just decided to fucking blow it. The Chiefs, I mean, I hate to sound like a shitty fan saying it was luck, but they got really fucking lucky in a lot of games this year.
To win a Super Bowl.
You do.
This was the Chiefs' down year. How are they going to get worse?
They also did not have Mecole Hardman during the season. They traded back for him, and Hardman ended up being the touchdown guy to win the game.
Hold on, though.
Yeah, he caught the winning touchdown, yeah.
Hold on, though. So you're saying it's lucky on one end, but using that logic, doesn't luck go both ways?
I don't understand the question. What do you mean?
So what I'm saying is if you think the Chiefs got lucky because they were able to come back in and somehow make this playoff run, don't you think there was a lot of ways they got unlucky? Like they could have easily been a far better team than they were this season.
I don't agree with that being a far better team this season because they were lacking in weapons behind Kelsey and Rice. Rashee Rice is still a rookie and needs time to develop too, where Travis Kelce is the only true veteran on the team that could actually be the dependable pass catcher. And their running back by committee, they're not great at running the football. They're okay. I don't know, okay. They're above average at it.
Everywhere you talk about that, that's the thing, Logan. They were the super lucky team. I don't think they had a lot of bad luck this year.
Travis Kelce was hurt for a good portion.
How many games did he miss?
5?
It was about 4. He missed about a month, it felt like.
So he missed about a month, and it didn't even affect them. McKinnon missed most of the year. And
they lost to the Lions. It did affect them. They lost to the Lions.
And to be fair, if the refs had just done what they've been doing all year, they wouldn't have lost to the Lions because they weren't calling the fucking right tackle jumping every fucking play in that first game of the year. All right. Like,
no, that's what I mean.
Every single play that right tackle jumped. From that point on, like, they didn't have a good offensive line. They had Kelsey out. They had receivers out. They had nothing go right for them. The worst luck you could think of. All that bad luck, and they still did good. That's like, how lucky were they to get through all that?
And the Chris Jones
that's
injury
why you
was
got to
huge.
think about it.
Or
Were they good
holdout,
luck to get through all of that, or was it horrible bad luck that just didn't affect them somehow?
That's what I'm saying is, like, if we're going to say it was lucky they got through it, we also got to give them some credit for their perseverance, I feel like, too, because they were also dealing with a egomaniac in Chris Jones, who for some reason was missing a good portion, especially the offseason preparation, including a couple games in the beginning. So all I'm saying is, like, they obviously went through their fair share. They also beat some really good teams in that playoff run. They went through the Ravens. They went through the Dolphins. All these perennial, good teams going forward. I think it's time to give Mahomes his flowers. And I understand how some people don't want that. Like, I remember Bill Simmons talking about his dad actively, even though he's a football fan, actively rooting against Mahomes because he wanted Tom Brady. And, like, I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't be biased. Like, go ahead and wear the rose-colored glasses if that's how you want to be a fan.
I mean, at this point, if Mahomes wins 10 Super Bowls, it makes Brady the greatest quarterback of all time. Like that, unfortunately, if Mahomes were to go undefeated the rest of his career, then that means Brady's the only quarterback to beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl, which means Brady trumps Mahomes every time till the end of time. Mahomes winning makes Brady a better quarterback.
I don't agree with that logic.
It literally happened. Like, no, that's how it's going to work. That's how the world's going to see it. Mahomes keeps winning.
You're probably
Mahomes
right.
has 6 Super Bowls. But Mahomes did lose that one to old man Brady, and he went to another team. It's like, well, I mean, who's better, Brady? Like, you are always going to argue Brady Mahomes.
I don't think anybody here is trying to take away credit from the Chiefs where credit is due, including Patrick Mahomes. They came through when they could. This was a team that was not as good offensive-wise when they had Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator. I don't truly know how much power Matt Nagy had over the offense, but based on the plays that the Chiefs were calling, this looked more like Andy Reid than Matt Nagy to me.
I agree, which is why I really want to give it to Andy Reid. Like, Andy Reid did a great job with this Chiefs team this year.
Yeah,
he
really did.
He has Mahomes.
My only thing about Mahomes,
he has a quarterback he can trust and let run the offense.
Mm-hmm.
But with everything else he had on offense, that offensive line, the weapons that they could put around him, Andy Reid did a great job.
Joe Thuney's backup, I forgot the guy's name, is also from the south suburbs of Chicago, too. He's fairly local to me. He did a terrific job being the backup left guard.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you got
they had injuries all year. They got unlucky all year, and then they still were able to get through. I don't know if it's luck, skill.
It's both. Everyone knows you have to be lucky to win.
I don't think there's any way for me to say the Chiefs were not definitively the best team. Like, I have no complaint. There is no argument. The Chiefs deserved and are the best team and won the Super Bowl this year. They're the best team in football. Of all the flaws of every team, okay, Kansas City's the best team.
They can hide their flaws the most.
How good you think the Ravens are, or how good San Fran is, or how good Detroit is, or how good they're all going to be moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. Kansas City's the best team.
The guy I was thinking of was Nick Allegretti, the backup left guard who could succeed Joe Thuney on the offensive line someday. He did pretty fine in that Super Bowl, and that Chiefs offensive line I don't think is going to weaken for a long time.
The question becomes, do you just cut loose with Thuney to try and keep Chris Jones again another year and go back, run it back? Like, the Chiefs have just a couple decisions to make here. Do you go target a Mike Evans? Like, that's the kind of conversations we're having now.
But Donnie, I think this is like one of those whole number situations where you have let's just say the whole number of 50, right? And you can split it 25-25. I don't think there's a right and wrong answer here. I think there's
whatever they decide, I 100% will agree with.
Right.
They have made the correct decisions as they're the organization that sees what's going on. They will make the decision that they feel is necessary.
You could easily say, like, go get Mike Evans. The only mistake about getting Mike Evans would be to go get Mike Evans and then spend a second or first round pick on another wide receiver. Like, as long as they are diligent about what they're doing and build under this whatever philosophy they choose, I think is the way to go. It's similar to the argument of is gambling, how much of it's luck and how much of it's skill. I think it's a combination of both. Now, obviously, it's a preference between whether you think that's 50%, whether you think it's 54. But at some point, we're just arguing semantics, and then we become one of those what most people and smart football fans like us call the shouty shows. We just become the talking heads that are just shouting each other, and that's what I'm really proud about this podcast that we don't do. And I would say we rarely agree, but we rarely disagree to the point that it's has any evil intention.
All I know is that the Chiefs' offensive line, they have two guys that are making big bucks between Joe Thuney and Jawan Taylor. Both guys have 2 seasons left before there's an out in both of their contracts. So it's either going to have to be a trade or they're just going to have to wait and see if they could get like Mike Evans on a fancy veteran discount.
So, well, the thing is, Chris Jones is their big free agent. Chris Jones is up. You have guys like Mecole Hardman up as well, but
I don't think they're going to bring back Mecole.
No. I don't either. There's only one big free agent here.
Yeah. And there's no denying, even though Chris Jones, we may not like him as much based on what he does with himself.
Very impactful.
He's still a very impactful defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
He's unblockable. In the playoffs, he was an absolute monster.
Which is why you tolerate it. It's why you tolerated Antonio Brown, why you tolerated Dennis Rodman, why you tolerate Draymond Green. And we're going to be talking about NBA. I did that transition on purpose. We will be talking about the NBA. I have some really cool kind of like weekly shows.
Milwaukee lost by 26 tonight.
Well, that's exactly it. I think we can do some good weekly shows for NBA and kind of like do some previews. But speaking of that, let's put a bow on the NFL. We talked a lot about the games and some of the ins and outs. So let's not, go lineup by lineup per se. But we did have two of our better lineups here did score in the Millie. This is a contest we don't normally play. We played it because we won best ball, because we had a good season, because we made profit all season. I did make profit. I don't really want to brag. It doesn't really matter the money amount. You guys can go back and look at the shows if you want. But we did make profit, and I think that's very valuable. But also, I want to mention really quickly before we get onto the lineup, it's when you guys make profit, don't get silly where you think you got to leave it in. I have a set amount of money that I leave into the DraftKings account, and then I take everything else out because I want some reward at the end of the year. So, like, whatever your bankroll management says that, X is the amount, stick to that. Understand that this is disposable income, but don't be afraid to treat yourself once in a while. Which you will see the guys decided we're going to keep it for the best ball. We're going to roll it over for next year. Next year will be the first time Evan joins us for a best ball. He's kind of a dynasty.
We'll be able to get, as long as they do the same format, we should have enough to do like 1 or 2 $10 millies.
Yeah, and Gov, to that point, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, we do such a good job of ranking our list. I'd almost want to rank the list before we do the draft and make that.
Yeah, I think if we're going to do that, we should do a show.
Yeah.
I think we'll do a show straight up where we just do our rankings.
Because our rankings.
And then we could do another show where we jump into a draft.
Yep.
Depending on how long we'd want to go, because I figure it might take us an hour.
I remember our rankings took us. When we did it live the first time, the rankings took us like 2 hours.
That's what I'm saying. Like a show is probably going to be the rankings show, and then another show will be the draft show. Because the draft will probably only take us 30 minutes once we get to it. But we need to have our rankings in. But last year, they allowed you to set your rankings and save them. So we should be able to do our rankings on a show and then do our best ball. And we'll be able to do, like we did last year, we'll be able to do a best ball early and a best ball late, and compare our July best ball to our August best ball.
And I will confess this will be June. Yeah, and I will confess this will be my first ever best ball league and team. As I'm
just think of it like
I honestly think you will be very good at it.
Yeah,
it's basically just season long. Think about drafting your season long team and what you would need if you drafted a brand new season long team. Like you're a dynasty guy, so you know what it's like to have to draft a team. You also know what it's like to keep one or two guys over for dynasty. But
you know
the concept of like, it's a redraft. We're doing everything. Everyone gets their own new team. I got to look at it this year and try to draft my best team.
Yeah.
Baseball's the same way. You just don't got to worry as much about like start and sit. It's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Your team's going to be a lot deeper. You might need to take a couple of shots. That's the one thing I didn't do, was taking my 18th, 19th, 20th pick and making it the Puka Nakuas and the rookies that are going to play. Like, I did not get enough of those guys that I should have.
I love taking shots on rookies too, so you got the right guy for the best ball team next year.
Well, we got Puka Nakua in one of our picks because of Logan. That was all Logan.
Yeah,
there you go,
Logan.
man.
See, and I was more likely to draft guys like backup running backs that I thought could get help. I had a lot of Chase Brown from Cincinnati, knowing that at some point Mixon's not going to play a whole season. Like I had a lot of.
We got who was the Chargers guy that we got? That one.
Was it Kelly or Spiller?
It was Kelly. We got Kelly. Yeah, we drafted Kelly, assuming that eventually
Eckler's not going.
Eckler's not. Yeah, and we got exactly what we wanted, but we didn't realize every running back on the Chargers would just suck.
Yeah, who could predict that?
I could have told you that about Joshua Smelly. Good Lord.
This is why you're going to help our best ball teams this year.
Gov, I'm going to drive you crazy, by the way. I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to hold my.
Look, Mike Conley has 17 fantasy points.
I hate you. I will break down our best ball team.
Oh, look,
you just ruined my night.
That game.
I'm going to drive Gov nuts. So get your laughter out of the way. I will forecast our best ball team every week. It might be a single show.
God. Oh, you are going to too. You're going to that's fine. That's fine. It's fine.
It's honestly the weird egocentricity that I do. I don't know why. I really do enjoy following it weekly. It drives some people nuts. So I love the compare and contrast.
I remember Jay and everyone in the Discord after Monday Night Football every week. It's like, all right, what's your best bet? What you got? Well, you got any in first? Week 3, you got any in first? Doesn't matter in week 3. It matters in week 12. Do you have any in first that will stay there or get to the top by week?
This lineup, though,
that's when it matters.
This lineup did matter, Gov. This is the last time it will matter for a while in the NFL, at least.
This is our last NFL lineup for a couple of months. Yeah.
What is the best way that we can do this a bit different than most people without just giving a full Super Bowl breakdown? What did you like about this lineup? What did you dislike? What do you think we got lucky? How do you want to attack this?
Oh, this lineup was solid. Like the only thing we could legitimately, we got basically every good play that wasn't Jennings. If we just figure out a way to not play Purdy and put in Jennings, and then
which is a guy right. We would have had to leave a lot on that table.
Well, see, that's the thing. If you get rid of Purdy and switch him to Jennings, you could have then made probably Kelsey or someone the captain to use up that salary or a good chunk of it. That would have made the lineup better, but that's literally the only way. And who would have known you needed a receiver and not the quarterback? Who would have known you needed the number 3 receiver and not his quarterback in a lineup?
Who would have thought that Kyle Shanahan would have had his whole, outside of McCaffrey, all of his stars on offense just completely coached out of the game?
Well, to be fair, Kansas City's defense did that. Kansas City.
But
they kept the middle of the field so Kittle couldn't do anything, and they put Snead, their best corner, on Debo. So
but even McDuffie did crazy good.
That's what I'm saying. But even you say that, but Jennings and he did okay against Ayuk, but then what does that leave? It's a defense can't cover everything. So that left Jennings open, and that left times when you caught them doing a pass defense instead of a run defense, and now McCaffrey breaks a play because McCaffrey's just that fucking good.
Honest question, because
that's all San Fran had offensively was whatever was left to Jennings and whatever McCaffrey could get himself. And that you saw, that was still a pretty solid offense. Shanahan did pretty good with Kansas City basically nullifying Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. I think that was their game plan. It's okay, we're going to nullify these weapons. make Purdy beat us with whatever's left, and we'll deal with McCaffrey. We'll make sure that McCaffrey and the weapons don't beat us. Purdy's going to have to beat us with his other shit. And
He did very well, by the way.
You saw him try to hit Ray McLeod early. Like, you saw Shanahan realize the way they're scheming it, I got to find a third, fourth dude on the field because he's going to be the guy that gets open.
Logan, I know you said you wanted to bring us away from NFL football, but I have to ask this question. Speaking of the 49ers, is Brock Purdy the future at quarterback for this team?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't go away.
He played well enough. He really did do enough.
The way that team works, you don't need more.
You
didn't need more from the quarterback position to win that.
At least for 2 years. Till this contract is up, yes.
Winning that game with everything you had, and then a couple of tiny errors that could have gone either way, and maybe one bad decision in overtime. And that's all that, that was it.
Okay, I need to know, what was the bad decision in overtime you're referencing?
Not taking the ball second.
See,
I'm fine with that. That wasn't a bad decision. I'm fine with that.
Rules, I think, you have to. If you're taking the ball first, you have to score a touchdown or it doesn't matter.
Plus, it gives your defense a chance to catch their breath.
Correct.
The defense just got cooked by Mahomes a whole last drive.
I get that. But I still think you give Mahomes the ball. Force him
to
go down and do something. If your defense is still good enough and it can hold him to a field goal, then you are now in position. All we have to do is go down and score, and this game keeps going. If we get a touchdown, we win. If we get a field goal, then it's back. Boom,
but what
boom,
about
boom,
that third chance? Yeah, what about that third chance? When Mahomes gets the ball a third time if you match him.
I wouldn't have let him. I give it to him first.
You go for two or you don't?
I give it to him first, assuming at worst he gets a field goal. He might not score. Then all I have to do is go down and score. I'm not thinking of giving Mahomes a third shot.
No.
I'm thinking, in my mind, I give him the first shot because I can win the game with the second shot no matter what he does. Because I'm not letting him score a touchdown. And that's the way you have to play it, because with the rules, even if he scores the touchdown, you get a shot. It doesn't end the game.
Yeah. So you get a shot. So then if he scores a touchdown, you go for two. Is that what you're saying?
You have all the ability. You have all the ability. You can make the decision. It's all in your hands. When he took the ball, now you have to go down and score a touchdown to force Mahomes' hand into giving him and to be fair, even then you're not really forcing his hand. You're putting him in the same position you probably wanted to be in yourself. He can go down, even if you score a touchdown, he can go down, score the touchdown, go for two, or kick it and start the whole sudden death touchdown thing if he wants. You can do whatever, and really you probably go for two, because at sudden death touchdown, if you both just scored, I would probably go for two. Now, maybe there's the thing, my defense was just gassed. Let him get some rest. We'll go out and score and whatever. Okay, I'm trusting my defense to go out and not let Mahomes score a touchdown. He hadn't let Mahomes score a touchdown until they got to overtime kicking field goals. All right. Their big touchdown was the Mecole touchdown to win the game. Otherwise,
speaking of which,
one
Logan,
MVS touchdown and a bunch of field goals that got them to 19.
Logan, I have a question. Did you ever make that bet on the over/under of whether the field goal would be higher than the score total?
No, what I did was I took more touchdowns than field goals, so I lost that bet.
When Moody hit,
when Moody 57 was the longest by Butker.
Yeah, when Moody hit that field goal with less than 2 minutes to go in the game, I thought my prediction was going to come true, but I got nervous because you never let Mahomes have the ball with less than 2 minutes to go, even if he's got worse weapons.
Man, that drive was just, it was so beautiful. You can't draw it up better.
Was so good, though. It really
Everything about the game was so good. I loved the first quarter. And my thing is, outside, there was one play where you could definitively say, that's an awful play. What was that? And that's the punt that bounced off a dude's ankle.
I can't say that was a good game.
That's what I'm saying. I can't even say that was a good defensive play. A ball randomly bounced off a dude's ankle, and then the
Right.
guy saw it and couldn't react well enough because it's an oblong spheroid bouncing around everywhere.
So if anybody wants to go off of the NFL script, explain that one, conspiracy theorists. You can't rig that.
Well,
Thank
you saw that the two players involved were numbers 28 and 3.
Oh God.
Here- Here's the thing, and this is the honest truth. If you are a conspiracy guy,
I know, Evan. I know. I'm cracking up too, right? Oh wow. There's no conspiracy. Wait, they were 28 and 3. Are we sure? Is there a conspiracy or a troll job going down right now?
let's be honest,
What is it? Wait, the script's not coming right in. All right, write in some troll shit. Let the script happen.
So, you don't have to comment.
Make numbers 28 and 3 do something stupid.
You don't have to comment, but you know we're part of that Discord. There was a guy in there about a year and a half ago that he wanted every conspiracy to come true in the playoffs. We heard conspiracies from,
He's still in there.
Yeah, I know.
I talk to him every day.
We're not going to mention any names.
I'm not giving out names, but I talk to him every day.
Yeah, the guy's lovely, but that's
great.
that's kind of what I mean. Is if you're that kind of guy, you're going to look for conspiracies on the bingo board at all times, right? So it doesn't matter where the free conspiracy board kind of piece is, you're going to find it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is if there wasn't a conspiracy at the scale that most people think there is, then I think they would have made it a lot more entertaining than it already has been.
My thing is, where did the Kansas City receiving core drop these last two games? Like, they just stopped dropping the football, essentially. They had one bad drop in the Super Bowl. I remember that. I forget who it was, though.
See, back to Evan's question, though, because I think this is a great time to bring this up as we kind of like go full scope on the NFL offseason. We still wrapping up the Super Bowl. We're kind of all over the place, but in a very structured, convenient way. To your question about Brock Purdy and if he should be the quarterback for the 49ers, I would say if the 49ers want to believe in him, then sure. Because here's my whole thing about quarterbacks or any kind of philosophy when it comes to building a team, whether that's, hey, we have Lamar Jackson and we should build a running, scheme around our running quarterback. Hey, we have this unique weapon in Tyreek Hill. Hey, we should probably take more deep shots than most teams. That's why, Evan, I absolutely hate ranking quarterbacks, right? I think, now this will sound like I have hatred, but it might be if that's how you want to take it. I think there's 5 backup quarterbacks that are better than Brock Purdy right now in the league.
Name them.
Sam Darnold, Gardner Minshew. I would have C.J. Beathard.
Oh, C.J. Beathard's awful.
Keep going.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
And then the kid from Cincinnati. The name's escaping me.
Browning.
Not Zach Wilson. Shut up.
Browning.
Jake Browning.
Okay. Here's my thing about that. I would say a lot of NFL quarterbacks at this kind of skill level could run that offense very successfully. It's more so about being able to stay poised in the pocket and having the footwork correctly. Because, yes, anyone could do what Brock Purdy's doing, but Brock Purdy's footwork and the extra stuff has been so much better.
Not everyone. But here's my point: it's belief. You have to, when someone believes in you and they put faith in you, and they want you to run their team, that matters. So what I'm saying is, sure, Brock Purdy could be a top 32 quarterback. He could be 31. He could be 29. He could be 26. Or he could be 35. To me, it doesn't matter. At that point, when you kind of tear yourself off, and I already know what kind of tier you're at, it's like, what around you do I like, And he has a good team around him. He has a coach that believes in him. And those kind of things matter, right? Where like Trevor Lawrence might be very superior and more talented, but for some reason, whether that be the talent around him or the coaching staff, he's looked god awful at times. So
Brock Purdy did finish as a top 10 fantasy quarterback too, which in the fantasy world definitely means something.
Right. So all I'm saying,
you know what?
is,
Can you finish your point? Finish your point.
no, all I'm saying is like it comes down to at some point whether your team believes in you and you have the right team around you to run your system. But the problem is that everyone wants to be like, okay, rank the top 32 teams in the league, and then they want me to give them a ranking. There isn't really a ranking because outside of like maybe 3 quarterbacks in the league, I think you need a team. Like I don't think Dak Prescott could just start for any team in the league.
Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dak Prescott is absolutely starter caliber.
No,
I honestly think there would be a few teams he would struggle on.
That's what I'm saying.
He looks like, for someone who stepped into what, I'm going to just say it, the team he stepped into that Romo had was a pretty damn good team.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one of the better situations you can put a quarterback in to start. And he didn't look good till year 3. Like,
I'm saying there's 20%.
That's like Mahomes looked good sitting 1 year on a Chiefs team that really didn't have everything yet with Alex Smith, but was getting there. Dak was on a team that Romo was making playoff runs with, and he didn't look good for like.
Well, let's not say runs, but
like making
he was making the playoffs with.
That was a playoff caliber team with Romo.
Well,
Dak comes on, and it takes 3 years before it gets back up to that.
No.
A lot of
year he finished.
Stuff, like
his rookie year, he finished with the best record in the
down year, but I make that down years mostly due to transitioning Dak in. Like the offensive line was still good. You still had Zeke in a running game. Like
the down year was like when Zeke got hurt or suspended or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like
True.
Dak could not play without Zeke. We had found that out early on.
But that's something like that's a knock. Like a good quarterback doesn't need a specific running back to play. Like Cam never needed McCaffrey. He could do it with fucking Mike Tolbert as his running back. Like there's something to that sometimes.
Let me answer Evan's question, and then you guys can take it in whatever direction you want. My point was that I think there's 20% of the league where Dak Prescott would struggle at. Not that he wouldn't start. He would start for all 32
There's definitely
teams.
5. Like he would probably, he would start on any team in the league.
He
There's
would start
5
any team in the league
that he's not taking anywhere. Like you're gonna put him on that team. That team's still only gonna win 4 or 5 games, and people are gonna be like, "Is Dak is Dak what you actually need?" I'm like, not like you put him on the Vikings. They're a playoff team.
Right.
I think this is the way we need to look at it.
You put him on Indy, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, here's the way we need to look at it, in my opinion.
Like, you put him on Washington, even with their solid weapon? No, I don't think so.
I'm not even saying he's not going to be a winner.
Arizona, I don't think you put him on Arizona, I don't think Arizona's doing any better than they did.
No. Here's the perfect example, Gov. You look at, let's say, you don't have to agree with the quarterbacks I named. Let's say Burrow, Mahomes, and Allen. If you put them on any roster, you'd expect at least 6 to 7 wins at worst.
I would probably expect 6 wins extra on top of whatever they'd normally win. So if they were a 3-win team, I'd expect them to win 9 if you put Allen or Burrow on a team. And you tell me
I'm saying the lowest of the low. If you put Dak on a team, you could see them winning 4 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, let's do worst case scenario. I put Burrow on Carolina. We're winning 8 games. I put Josh Allen or Mahomes on Carolina. We're winning 8 games. I put Dak on Carolina. I'm not sure he does much better than Bryce Young did. And
I think that's my point, Gov. It's a lot of times people want to look at the low end of the tier, but we could be talking about running backs. We could be talking about wide receivers. Obviously, quarterbacks, they matter the most, so that's the position we gravitate towards. But that's the mistake I think we make when we look at talent a lot of times, is we want to be like, okay, well, what would this talent do on this team? Or, what would happen if Randy Moss was on the Patriots earlier? And it's like, it changes, but it changes so much of the skeleton of your team. they don't obviously get the draft pick, and so then you play the butterfly effect all the way down.
Speaking of Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, am I crazy for not realizing that Jason Garrett was their head coach between 2011 and 2019? I thought he only had the team for like 2 years.
No,
he was there forever.
Entire decade. Entire decade.
I feel like he only got the team for 2 seasons.
The whole time Cam and San Francisco were winning and going to Super Bowls and all that shit.
Super Bowls? Okay.
San Francisco went to a Super Bowl. Cam went to a Super Bowl. So that's multiple Super Bowls. All right. And during that 10-year span where
Sorry, I really hate the Panthers and Cam Newton era. I hate Cam Newton era.
That was also the era where every team in the NFC South won. New Orleans won 1 year, then Carolina got to the Super Bowl, then Atlanta got to the Super Bowl, then that was that 5-year span where every year a different team won the division and ran a playoff run.
You'll never ever be able to convince me that Cam Newton was ever really good in the NFL.
He was though.
He was.
You'll never convince me. You'll never convince me.
I'm
really good for 6 years.
As much as you hate Lamar, I hate Cam Newton 2 times more.
Cam Newton was only great in 2015. That was his only great season.
Overhyped.
The time,
he was just cool dancing.
But
that was also arguably that was the worst offense he had his entire career.
That's why it's overhyped.
That was the year Kelvin Benjamin goes down in training camp. So there's no McCaffrey. It's him. It's Mike Tolbert, and it's Ted Ginn Jr. That got to a Super Bowl.
Let me talk to them.
Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, our defense was fucking legit. So
I agree with you, Donnie. Cam's better than Brady.
Okay.
Here comes the camera.
Nope. That was a misclick.
Was it? Or were you trying to take a picture of your ass to show?
Yeah.
Remember what Jack said to Kobe? Hey,
we can have that argument later, but Cam did great things through his times. I'll say it right now, him not getting that Super Bowl makes it hard for me to put him in the Hall of Fame. But he's a perennial Panther Hall of Famer, and he was one of the best quarterbacks.
Okay, yeah, I'll say that he's a Panther Hall of Famer
during that 5 to 6 year stretch, he was a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Oh no, I could never say that. See, I could never call him a top 5 quarterback.
Okay.
During that 5-year stretch, he was a top 5 quarterback in the league.
You're never going to convince me. You'll never. I don't care what you're saying. You'll never convince me
right now. But what does that actually mean?
Okay, but we can get back to this Jerry Springer episode in just a little while.
Yeah.
Let me talk to the rational guy in the room here. Evan, let's pull the curtain back a bit. Before this show started, these guys said, let's not run this show over an hour. Let's make sure we keep this high and tight. I got work in the morning. And then they want to start all these side arguments about best quarterback.
This is why I wanted to get this out, because I knew I was going to ramble and talk.
Yeah, no, this is sort of what we do. We got to rein us
in,
Logan. Host the show.
So, but no, I love it though. This is honestly what I want. People say, well, don't you want the show to grow? I only want it to grow in numbers. I only want more people to get exposed to it, because I find that Gov has some of the more interesting DraftKings strategies. I find that Evan's nuance and his ability to almost, this will sound bad. I do not mean it bad though. It's almost like you don't pander to DraftKings because you haven't been playing for years. So when you hear something that's just absurd that only gamblers think, Evan calls us out. And then Donnie has a very unique but new age kind of take to sports, but then he kind of has a grumpy old man's approach. So the personality and emotion which you view sports as very strange, because some of your takes are very I'm 19 years old, but then you enjoy the Patriots and love the Bill Belichick style of football. So it's very strange to me, the combination we have here. And so I really do just love the sports kind of, we're going to come together, we're going to talk. We were going to talk about our lineups. We haven't really done that much, but I feel like we talked enough about the players. So let me just tell you how it went, and then I'll give the guys the last 15 minutes to speak on.
I do have one question I want to talk about for off-season wise.
Sure.
Just a random question.
I promise I'll wrap this up in 5 minutes. This whole entire lineup. So we were looking great because Juszczyk scored right away. Okay, and he was a really cheap captain. And anytime your captain scores right away, you're going to be good. When he's that cheap and he's under 1,000, he scores any points right away, you're going to be good. And I think he had points in the first drive of the game. Basically,
He had the first catch of the game, I believe.
yeah, he was almost used like a tight end. Like they literally blocked Kittle and they used Juszczyk a lot.
He jumped over a guy, if you remember.
Right. So what I'm saying is, though, Gov was right about that. And what I'm most proud of is we built it correctly for Juszczyk. I would have never captained Juszczyk, but if you're going to do it, we paid up everywhere else. And then the one other chance we took was on the Kansas City deep ball thrower and MVS. Like he actually had a better chance to score a touchdown, and Mahomes missed him in that game, which would have been a longer touchdown, which would have been more of a milestone moment, I feel like, in that game.
To be fair, MVS probably could have been our captain.
Remember when I was hesitant on MVS until I realized, oh shit, yeah, they're gonna try and target him anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to talk through that. Like, honestly, I didn't have that realization until you did. I'm like, oh yeah, they're just gonna have to target him. Thinking through it, it's like, yeah, no, like, who else do they have? Who else have they used? Like, even if you give Rice and Kelsey 9 targets apiece, Mahomes is going to throw it 30 times. There's someone else has got to have 5 targets.
He threw it 46 times too.
And just to show this lineup good, because this is one of my personal lineups that I also got fortunate enough to enter because of a ticket in the same contest. We didn't just have to get crazy with the Juszczyk play. You could have played this more conservatively.
You had the build too. Like, that is the correct build. The lineup that solo shipped the Millie, if you look at it, it was a Mahomes captain. That was a
can we see it? Can we see it?
Just go head to head with this one. Just click head to head. Top right. View head to head.
Yeah, top right.
View H2H.
I see.
That's the winning lineup. That's solo shipped $1 million.
The only difference is I played Sky Moore.
Well, no, click hide shared players. That's the difference.
At that. Wow.
Same captain, same Mahomes and McCaffrey core. You played Rice.
Which we played a Buckner when won, didn't we?
You played Rice, Sky Moore, Noah Gray. He played kicker, Jennings, Hardman.
Right. And
that's it.
It's one of those things like, okay, so let's just say I won this and not him, right? So then Sky Moore has to catch some passes. Then
Sky Moore, basically, for you to have done that, Sky Moore has to do what Hardman does. So Hardman takes a 0.
Yeah, let's just say Sky Moore catches the game winner instead.
Yeah. So let's say Sky Moore catches the game winner. You would have needed Noah Gray to catch a touchdown somewhere instead of Butker kicking a field goal.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the butterfly effect, because if we take those field goal points away and we make any of my guys the touchdown guys, that steals from Butker and also gives. So, like, that's what you get in a single showdown, though.
Yeah, you know what? My the best part about this is for me anyway.
Johnson have the passing and the receiving.
We would have never played Hardman. We said it. There was no world where we were going to play Hardman.
I would have played
any of my personal stuff. Yep, I did not see it.
So I'm 100% fine with it.
Yeah, remember when they were mad at him?
Right?
That's why I was.
Remember when they traded him away and he wasn't even on the team for most of the year?
No, he just left in free agency. They didn't trade him. He left in free agency. Yeah,
he left in free agency. He decided to go to the Jets.
Yes, he wanted to play with Aaron Rodgers,
and they gave him a lot of money.
They did, but I'll be honest. I would play Sky Moore to this day over Hardman if it was a 0-0 some game and they had to replay this game.
The logic was certainly there, Logan. I mean, I don't think anybody can fault you for taking a shot on a guy like a Sky Moore.
Well, there
was no world.
And with
you could have never convinced me to play.
Now, I could have. Now, here's the thing. Like, with a Mahomes captain, I definitely can see having Butker. Like, that might have been one of my rules in an optimizer. Is like, if I'm captaining the quarterback then they're moving the ball enough for him to get the yards. There's probably a field goal or two.
That makes
that means
sense.
the kicker is going to have 9 to 15 points, and that's going to be more optimal than a 4-point Noah Gray or whatever. That's usually one of the things I think about, but I also don't captain quarterbacks a lot because they tend to be higher owned. You got low owned Captain Mahomes in this tournament, and you were able to just build Kansas City onslaughts with no ownership.
I thought Mahomes would run the ball a lot. Evan, you had a point.
When we were building the lineup for the show, I had brought up the idea of playing either Butker or Moody, and it seemed like the rest of you guys were not really into that.
I thought there'd be more scoring. I didn't think it'd be a kicker game.
I played a Butker in one of my lineups. I played a Butker. I like playing Butker.
I played a Moody in one of my couple of lineups, but that was about it.
And this is the great.
I like kickers more than most, I'd say.
You definitely do, and that's why
kickers were highly optimal in the showdowns all year. So I also think, like, my personal thought when I look at this was normally a captain quarterback lineup is one of the higher owned lineups you get. It's projected that way, so that it's hard to get that as a solo. The fact that he got that solo is the thing I was trying to look into the most when I came down to these lineups. It's like, how does something that happened that much? And I think what happened was we saw the final advent of like the sim stuff really falling into place here this year. So like you do your sim and the sim's going to tell you captain quarterback lineups are overowned. And so everyone gets off to the other stuff. They're playing Debo, they're playing Kelsey, they're playing Kittle at captain. And those ones are all 2 or 3% higher owned than you think. And now instead of a 22 to 23% owned captain in Mahomes, you get him at, what did he come in at?
I have
you can just go back to contest. Just hit back to contest, and we can look at your lineup, and it'll show it.
That's
right there. But okay, yeah. He only came in at 10%.
And I
routinely come in at 20+%. I thought Mahomes and Purdy were going to be just below the same ownership as McCaffrey. And for him, like, you can see Kelsey, higher owned captain.
McCaffrey was 21%.
Right.
That's why.
You can look at any player like Kelsey at a captain. He was 11% owned. More people played Kelsey at captain. We can just look through another couple of lineups just to try to find players.
Yeah.
You can find what it was is
I don't think people wanted to
click on anything so we can find something.
Yeah, there's Kelsey.
Still Kelsey. Yeah, there's a Kelsey captain. Keep clicking. I want to find some stuff like with any other player.
But here's what happened. So
we're at the top of the list, so it's going to be all the same like 6 players. So you like have
pretty much right.
Like, yeah.
So, but
like that's the thing. Like there were plenty of lineups that didn't cash that probably had like, I bet 12% were Debo captain. I bet 10% were Kittle.
Jennings,
captain.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a Jennings captain. That's crazy.
That was almost as owned as our Juszczyk captain.
But here's the thing: is like, but this is where I'll give Gov a lot of credit because if you remember when Gov built a Juszczyk lineup, he said we got to get different more than once because if we just get different once, then everyone else is going to load up on the guys that they're for sure going to score, and there's going to be somebody that lets them down here, and that's where this guy made a mistake in my opinion. He played Jennings at captain, got different, but then tried to get too safe with everything else. Played Pacheco.
To be fair, he played Pacheco, but he did play Watson, who only came in.
Yeah, he played Watson. If you switch Watson, I don't know how much money he would have left. But if you change it from Watson to MVS, then you jump up.
If you change it from Watson to Hardman, you jump up.
Yeah,
sure. Maybe this is about. But what I'm saying is, like, you at least you were right, Gov. Where it's like
with that, and like to be fair, this is a lineup that won $150.
Yeah,
it's not like he did poor on that lineup. Like he kind of did the same thing we did. He just did Jennings and Watson, and we went Juszczyk and MVS. Both our lineups cashed.
Right, but that's why I wanted to bring up this lineup just to show you that like your theory was right. Though it's you can't just get crazy at captain and a one game Super Bowl. You had to be different. You had to be willing to leave money on the table and get uncomfortable somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of getting comfortable, I told the guys that I keep this under an hour. We're going to hold to that.
Yep.
Well, I have one small little tangent.
Have at it.
What's your favorite off-season thing? Like free agency, draft, combine, just the break in general. What are you guys looking forward to?
All of it, maybe. All of it.
I'm honestly
Just
looking,
NBA? Is it just NBA for you, Go?
I mean, it will also be baseball at a certain point in time, and we will be doing UFL stuff.
Yeah,
That should be fun.
I'm super excited for the UFL because they're merged. So last year we had XFL content, we had the USFL content, and DraftKings didn't know how to invest the money. And so what ended up happening was they kind of put $50 here and $100 here. Obviously, the money amount was different. But what they did was they split the pots essentially. And then
it was kind of crappier tournaments and everything.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. But
so
now,
no contest was any good.
One spring football league, DraftKings might be able to put that money together into one spring football league and give us better tournaments to play in.
The reason I love it is because
just to like put it out there for you, Evan. Normally, when they're going to do something, even if it's small, I want like a 25K, 30K to first kind of tournament, even if that's the $15 tournament, like the Millie was in football. No, but last year you could barely get a 10K tournament at all in any of the games. But they had them for all the way through from XFL and USFL. So maybe we start getting 25, 30K top prize tournaments. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. I look for the flagship tournament, which is usually a $15 to $20 tournament like the Millie. Like, football's king. Football's the one that you're going to get a Millie every weekend. And maybe on certain showdowns.
I didn't know that. Matt Corrales on the Birmingham Stallions. I might want to catch a Birmingham Stallions game this year.
See, but that's honestly what I love is Donnie is such a historic, like for a young guy.
Judo said that.
When we learn all the players that are actually in this league, former NFL,
if I could get a friend to go with me, I might consider going to a Birmingham game. Might.
Because you're not that close to Birmingham, right?
It's about 2 hours. It's close enough.
Yeah, at least for a day trip.
I think you can get good seats for like $100. Like you could be a baller for $100.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it'd be a good experience. And like, I love like the Cinderella kind of fun stories of it. It gives so many guys a chance to play professionally. And like, I'll tell you what, college is scared of this league because if you want to talk about like just wanting to focus on football, I feel like the USFL could supplant college. They can basically compete.
I don't think they'll ever be able to because of how much bigger these guys are compared to college age guys.
True, but we're seeing a lot of college guys rather take NFL coordinating jobs over head coaching jobs. We saw that for the first time this year, where college guys chose NFL OC and DC jobs over being head coaches in college. College is not what it once was. So we will be covering that. Is there anything else, Donnie, you wanted to talk about? It was your topic.
No, unless anyone has a favorite Super Bowl commercial. That's it.
I did not pay attention to the vast majority of them. They were ass.
There was a couple of good ones.
I mean,
I like the Birds one.
I'm going to go see Deadpool so much. Oh my God, Deadpool!
I can't wait for the Deadpool movie. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, honestly, I'd say
Deadpool like the day it comes out. I might have to miss work to see it that day.
Yeah, it was the movie trailers, man, because they were
no fucks given. No, okay, no, that actually okay. You really want my opinion? Hollywood has no ideas. Just another twister. Just another blah, blah,
yeah.
Just another blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you're right.
Another thing.
No one was looking for another twister.
Another thing. I don't think there was a new movie that they actually had a trailer for. It's just a new.
No, there was the what was it called? It was the animated movie. It was the Imaginary Friend movie.
That looks good.
That is a rip-off of the Cartoon Network show with Ryan. It's got Ryan Reynolds. I swear to God, if I watch it and there's anything like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, I'm calling Cartoon Network and Turner. I'm telling him he's got a lawsuit. Turner, get your money.
Look,
I'm so glad we took
remake. All right, like
honestly,
legit.
though,
That's my problem. I didn't see a new movie idea in that lot.
but Gov, that's what I'm saying. I actually enjoyed the theater kind of like previews because I just feel like the Super Bowl is too expensive to do a commercial. Like they make it so expensive for these guys to do commercials now.
And movies
then,
won't make that kind of money anymore.
It's the
trope movie to have $1 million payoff.
Well, that's also true. But there's a trope that, like, if I have a superstar or a celebrity and then I'm somewhat funny, that my commercial is going to do great. So what ends up happening is they hire all these, people to run commercials like Beyonce or J-Lo or Tom Brady, and they put them in weird, awkward, let's just say
people from Boston and the New England area probably like the Dunkings commercial. I liked it.
Well, yeah, you would. You're from the area.
But that's because that's all we have. All we have is Dunkin's down there.
But Donnie, it's a cheap trick. Like, to just get the highest paid celebrity, try to make it funny, and like, there's just no nuance to it anymore. So
the best commercial of the day was probably before kickoff when they had the birds, all the bird teams.
My favorite commercial was the NFL commercial where the kid from Ghana was playing football.
That was at least heartwarming to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, dare I mention it?
Anyway.
God.
No. We're closing shop. We're closing shop. We're not doing it. We're not doing
Jesus commercials.
Evan,
no.
Okay. Who had Jesus on the bingo card? I'm sitting there. I'm talking with everyone in the Discord. I'm literally like, what is this commercial with all this feet? What's the foot commercial?
You know what my dad said about that?
We're all like, what the fuck is this foot commercial that we're watching?
You know what? No. My dad said.
Next thing I know, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. When we were watching it, my dad
Jesus
said
on the bingo card. Nope. Couldn't check that one off.
Yeah. My dad said, "Is this Rex Ryan's commercial?"
Oh.
And then what comes on screen the second he says that? Jesus.
Jesus is an OnlyFans fan. I'll say that. Look,
I was legitimately like, what the fuck is this foot commercial?
Honestly,
who is this commercial for? Jesus.
Rex Ryan.
I honestly think like that was part of the ploy, though. To be honest with you.
Oh yeah, they sucked you into this commercial with all these pictures.
No. I'll tell you right now, that's a very not that specific one, but they do commercials like that a lot down here on my TV screen. It's always Jesus, and it's just like, it's popular down here.
South. They paid for one for the Super Bowl in Vegas.
Yeah, but
that made no sense to me. I was shocked. To see it.
Okay.
Is it like that in Florida too, Gov?
No.
So it is an Alabama thing.
I mean, maybe more in the Panhandle, but like Orlando, no, I don't see a lot of those commercials.
But
Morgan is what I see.
I honestly think it was attention grabbing, though. Just like, how can we be attention grabbing to get your attention? Either you love it or hate it. Because
here's a love-hate attention-grabbing thing. Fuck LeBron.
Well,
yes.
Honestly, Gov, in that same vein that we saw a political commercial during the Super Bowl. Well, like that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of culture.
Should have just played AD. Fucking bullshit.
I don't know. So you guys can hate it or love it, but that's the kind of culture we're in now. Where politics, religion. Moon landing, it's all Super Bowl involved. In fact, the first three shows in terms of viewership go the moon landing, the previous Super Bowl, I think, and this Super Bowl, 1, 2, 3 in terms of viewership for entertainment in the last 100 years. So that's just the world we live in. That being said, I'm going to get us out though. Thanks for joining me. We did go over an hour just like I predicted, even though I tried to keep this thing high and tight.
We had to finish our thoughts.
It's true. We do have a ton of off-season kind of fun. I do have a futures kind of, how we pick the spreads. I do think there's kind of a cool futures kind of contest we can do. We're going to try to do more cage matches going forward to start the year. I think there's a lot of cool innovation we can do with this podcast, along with just keeping it the three of us coming in, talking sports, enjoying the night with you guys. That's kind of the vibes we want to keep. That's kind of what I believe in. We upgraded our cameras this year. We saw a lot of innovation. We're going to continue to get better. It might seem like a small number, but we are at 106 subscribers. The best thing you could do is just keep liking and subscribing our content. Not a lot of people are going to be doing USFL content. Me and Gov do a lot of golf content, so we might hop in here and do a golf contest. Well, we already talked about doing some off-season NBA content, so we're going to keep you guys.
Sorry.
Go ahead. It's a long show.
I saw Brown is doing very well. Has 11 points already. Troy Brown. It's Troy Brown Jr., right?
Hey.
Anyway, I played him at mid-price.
We got to say that for next Tuesday. That's next Tuesday type NBA content.
Oh, look, Evan Fournier is playing well. It must be, let's see, Evan Fournier on the road on a Wednesday. No, it's not Wednesday. Okay. There used to be a formula where he would always go off on the Knicks when it was like Knicks on the road on a Wednesday. And Fournier is, for some reason, in the lineup.
Gov, we can't talk about any more basketball.
Let's close up. We got to close up.
We got to close up.
Yeah, we'll go time.
Yeah.
Love everyone. Don't forget, anyone, go and follow me on Twitch at Governot. You can watch me sweat all these lineups like I am right now, or die in every video game I play.
If I'm not lazy, the link will be in the description, but no promises.
Yep. Chat Chicago Bears or whatever the hell you want NFL related at Barely Fantasy on Twitter. Shit talk me if you want.
It is true. And don't add Evan with any NBA content. He wants off this podcast.
You got to do old English style. Like, you cannot fight any other way. If you are not old English style, you're not a man. You're not a man. Square up.
Just turn it off. Just turn it off.
Good night, everybody.
Peace out.